You're good.
All right, call the meeting to order at 5:02 of the Richland County Fair Committee. Proof of notification.
Yeah.
All right. Approval of the agenda. 13-point agenda. Looking for a motion. Gary, second. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Public comment. I guess no. Approve the minutes. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes. Okay, second. Gary, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair is calling me. Should I answer? Gary? Are you joining us? Because you can run this meeting.
I didn't know we were having a meeting tonight.
Well, you're on speaker with the group and we're on number 5. We'll let you listen. Public
What?
comment. You're on speaker.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Muted. Public comment. Do you want to call this?
I think if we just want to call on them and they can share what they want to share.
I have a comment. Who decided that there wouldn't be any admission at the gate charged?
That went through this committee, then executive, and then full county board voted on it last week
Let's talk.
And Public Works,
in Public Works. So maybe not executive, maybe it was Public
because
Works.
that's a Public Works, then executive, and full county board, and it was all, it came out of this committee on several different occasions.
How do we propose to make up for that loss?
So what the proposal is, and if I'm speaking for you, Larry, I apologize, is through the grandstand. So the admissions will be to the grandstand, not to the fair.
Okay. Done.
Any other comments on that? Okay. Public comment, number 5. Bruce Taylor. Bruce, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're staying cool. My name is Bruce Taylor. I'm speaking representing the Republican Party of Richland County, which I chair. I reside at 25995 Jackson Drive, Muscadet, but Muscadet mailing address, that's Boaz for me. So I'm a resident of the county in Dayton Township. I'm here to address the difficulties that we faced in registering for space in the A.V. Miller building and to request that the committee undertake and produce clarification on the changes that we experienced in this year's process. This especially given that the vendor registration information does not exist on the fair's website. The fairentry.com does not handle vendor registration, and the fair book lacks any specific guidance about what kind of policies or procedures are in place. So we're requesting some clarification on that topic at some future date, but right now, we fully recognize the part-time nature of the coordinator's role and the challenge that this presents to complete that job effectively. And we did manage, our treasurer, Kelly Bradford, managed to meet with Ms. Marks after some delay to submit all of our required paperwork. However, while our paperwork was accepted, our payments were refused. We could not write a check. We were informed that our participation would not be confirmed until 2 weeks before the fair, which is new and very problematic development to only have that kind of a lead time. This uncertainty makes planning, securing materials, organizing volunteers and scheduling them, especially heading into the election cycle, which is important because it inhibits our ability to provide a valued venue for the candidates who declare their candidacy, especially in the upcoming gubernatorial election. They've traditionally highly relied on county fairs as an important venue for them to perform voter outreach. And not waiting until 2 weeks before the fair, we cannot confirm or work with their campaigns at this time, which is very disappointing. We ask one thing is is what we're experiencing standard policy that is applying to all vendors currently? Are all vendors being held until 2 weeks before the fair? Question one. And then at what point and what priorities are they assigned when it is open to be announced? Who can participate and not? The building was only half full last year, which to me, putting this policy in place, not having a first come, first served basis as we've done traditionally, just seems very, very counterproductive to filling that A.V. Miller building. I've talked to some other vendors and they no longer participate. People who were next to us and across from us aren't participating and don't plan on participating again this year from the ones I've contacted. Again, for the lack of specificity around the registration process and partially because of the attendance. So I'm just asking that the committee spend some time and document and define what the procedure is and the policies around accepting the registration submissions. I urge that it be on a first come, first served basis, as it has been in the past, and that all of the applications that have been received to date be approved so that we can get moving on planning our activities. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'm not sure how to answer that because part of that, so I'm gonna hand it over to.
And if it's not on the
We're
agenda,
gonna skip it?
we're gonna
You're gonna fix
we're
it.
gonna gather that information. And Lyrica probably through her update can address some of those concerns, but it can also be a future agenda item if the committee so wants it on there.
Perfect, thank you. One other one is Dan, and I'll probably murder it.
All right, Scott, Sky to check.
There you go, I killed it. Dan,
I'm here.
you're here, Dan, go ahead.
Thanks for valued time and actions that you've taken in the past. I just wanted to express what I've learned about county fairs. Came from a very early age. I went to a one-room school at Indian Ford, Wisconsin. My teacher there was Mrs. Eleanor Volk. She prompted all of us through the first 8 grades to participate in 4-H projects. And we learned leadership skills, used our talents, art, and writing. Also, we learned how to prepare our projects along with public speaking and participation in caring for others and animals. We had responsibilities to meet on-time deadlines, politeness, courtesy in dealing with others, responsibilities also for our families. Family meant a lot to us in the rural area, and it provided an opportunity for people in the rural areas to see exactly what was going on with the big cities, because I had to go all the way from a small village to Janesville, Wisconsin, but it's places where I hadn't been before, so I saw new technologies. And as I mentioned about bringing families together, it also allowed us to see what was happening with the new technology, not only with tractors and combines and plows and implements of all kinds, but the different animals. And we were able to participate in viewpoints beyond what our own religious or political persuasions might have been. And regardless of that, we learned how to get along with people, which seems to be a problem today, is that we have disagreements, but we don't have the ability not to be able to disagree without being obnoxious. So my hope is that I share with Bruce's comments about what we can do to bring people together in unity and kindness and empathy toward one another as to what we're trying to accomplish to make our nation a better place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Any other, that's all I have for public comments. Financial report, number 6.
So We have still been getting more sponsors slowly now, but they're still coming in. Otherwise, the big update is that I have started working on the budget for next year. So I've met with Miss Trisha over here and Derek and all of them today to go over that. So hopefully that will be done in the next few weeks and then they can discuss it among themselves. Otherwise, that's like my big adjustment for that. That's very exciting.
Anything else on finance? That's it. Second harvest.
So we have this lovely angel through the video chat here. I believe her name is Ellen, and she is wanting to propose bringing second harvest to the fairgrounds, but I know she had a few things she wanted to discuss and a few questions.
Inviting me and allowing me to be here virtually. So we are looking to move the mobile from the school to another location within Richland County. And so the mobile is the third Thursday of the month. We need access to a site 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. This allows for us to set up and clean up. There's a few conditions and things that we look for in a mobile site. So one, we need the grounds to be plowed. We need snow removal. Can the site manage 40 to 50 cars for Richland? Can it store our equipment, traffic cones, thermal blankets? Can we leave pallets and our plastic produce bins at the site for pickup the next week or the next month, depending on when the truck is in the county next? So just kind of some criteria that we look for to see if a site is aligned to move a mobile. So that is where I stand right now. So questions? Oh yeah, and I needed at no cost because any dollars we save, we can use to spend on food for the distribution.
So one question I have, Ellen, this is
Yeah.
Trish Clements. You said you need a place to leave the bins?
Ideally, right? So I try to shoot for the moon in the ask. So we have traffic cones and thermal blankets. And a thermal blanket is like a really, really big quilt that can cover a pallet.
So when you and I have talked a couple of times, it really is about, could you utilize the fairgrounds area to have this with not having the cost? And so that's why it's being brought to the committee, is because she does want to be able to utilize this site and is requesting the fair committee to waive the fees.
Discussion on that.
When are you looking to start that?
Yeah, so yep,
sorry.
ideally September, the September mobile.
And what day of the week is that? Is it just, it's just one day a month?
It's one day a month. It's the third Thursday.
Do we have any conflicts with anything
Once the
on
car-
Thursdays?
I know that, I was gonna say, the third Thursday was Lions. I know that we talked about possibly doing like a Wednesday or like the week before or something like that. Because they do have, but that ends, their last time is September, so it'd only be like from the months of May through September is when we have that car show. But other than that, the only thing that I can think of that would be like a conflict is if we have the fair, you know, the 2 weeks before that, we're setting up and we're getting everything prepared. So like that would be like a gray area that one time of year, and things like that.
But even so, with the car show, wouldn't there be enough space there where people could still park and wherever they would be set up could be?
Theoretically, I'm gonna be honest, I have not actually gone to the car show. It's usually on Thursdays, which I'm not here in office, so I don't see it.
Yeah,
So I'm not sure how many.
It's usually over by the Lions.
By the Lions.
There on
Yeah.
that side.
Yeah.
They don't really go down to the other, that I know, unless they bring more cars.
They don't go to the
I was
south.
there this past Thursday.
Yeah.
It's pretty right by the Lions. Yeah, so it really wouldn't affect the rest of the.
I don't think so. I think there could be enough room over there where they both could be there using the fairgrounds.
I guess, Josh, are you gonna plow it and keep it usable that way? Cause she needed it.
We already,
Okay.
we take a swipe out there with plow truck, keep that, especially.
Yeah.
And tractors.
No, I just didn't know how much 40 to 50 cars is gonna require more probably than what you normally do. And then where the bins are kept, are they gonna be under the grandstand? And is that where they're gonna set up? Because then the rodeo and storage and other things we do could affect what we traditionally have done.
Rodeo now is on the second weekend for a couple of years, but that goes off the date of the juniors rodeo. Couple of years and back to the third.
Well,
They
we were
bear-
wrestling with the center.
Right, that would be right, middle
That'd be one of those I'm gonna do a separate report.
Yes.
It doesn't matter to us. If they haven't heated in.
I guess I would make a motion to waive the fee. I think that's the question, right? If they can use it and we can work around the rodeo and I'm sure they're flexible.
Figure it out.
We can figure it out as it goes. That would be my motion to waive
Yep.
the fee of the grounds for this once a month.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the process of the use of the fairgrounds.
So this is something that I'm bringing forth, in talking with Lyric and starting to really review the budget. We are seeing that our expenses continue to go up, our revenue continues to maintain or go down. I think the more that we can rent out the fairgrounds, the better that budget will look. And what I'm proposing, I believe how it's set up right now is those things, use of the fairgrounds needs to come through this committee, and I'm asking that Erica, with consultation of myself, be able to engage in contracts and approve the use of the fairgrounds for the public when they make books.
We had discussion on that last month, but basically to that effect. I don't know if there's anything needed to.
I think it's a great idea because we all get together and there's decisions that need to be made sometimes that we would have to have a special meeting to approve it. I think traditionally that's how it was done and I think it's a great idea. Is that a motion?
I think if the committee could vote on that, that would probably be beneficial, and then I would take a resolution to full county board, asking them to support this.
Somebody wish to make that motion?
I'll make that.
I will second. Second. Discussion, Carrie?
Yeah. We had a process here like a couple years ago on this exact same thing of how to rent out the grounds and use that. Somehow in our leadership process that we had here, got tossed out. So maybe to relook at that again.
So you think there's something that was out there that was
We
already?
did, yeah. We looked at how we could get revenue and leadership come. We didn't need that. So now we're talking about it again, so.
And I just wanted to make a note too, in our minutes, number 8 last month, we did state in there that the Fair Board stated no events should be turned down and Mark should have permission to allow any group without Fair Board. So we had already talked about it. I think we just didn't vote on
I was
it.
gonna say, there we didn't.
Yeah, so that's.
Because I think you had one that needed a 2-week, if, they're traveling circus or whatever, and they're in Rhinelander, Richland Center looks good, can we rent it? We would have to then.
Right.
That would be up to Erica and sure, why not?
Yeah, but I agree. I think with Carrie, we need to have some sort of procedure of, these are all the things, like especially with the circus, that we had a bunch of questions that couldn't get answered, and we want to make sure that whatever events we're having there, that they're following our guidelines.
Well, we had that. It's
Yeah.
just that there was
We just need to figure out what,
some housekeeping that happened
yeah,
and just
we just need to figure out where
theme
where
changes,
those
I
are.
guess I'm gonna call it.
Yeah.
It threw everything out, so.
So hopefully we can figure out where those are and just use those guidelines.
Any more discussion on that? Otherwise, looking to just have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 9, storage.
We want to start discussing whether we want to continue forward with the fairgrounds for storage. What we're finding is people are going elsewhere. We went down to basically one weekend of take in and then one weekend out. What we found was there's too many people that couldn't make the weekend. A lot of people went and built their own storage sheds or found alternative arrangements, and we can't staff it for the time they want us to be there. So we always have to come in on overtime. I have to supply a couple guys, a couple pieces of equipment for 2 days straight to take in equipment. And what's happening is we're not making every revenue to do. So it's liability back on the county having their stuff stored in the buildings. We'd like to basically step away from doing that just because of liability that it carries, and we're just not producing revenue off it and justify the staffing, manpower, advertising, so much more things with that. So that's honestly my 2 cents on the subject. Is I just don't see it being beneficial and too much liability back on the county with the equipment that's being put in there.
Have we, I guess I just have one comment. Have we looked at, we went from paid retired folks of $5,000 a year, mowing, putting storage. We got our money's worth out of both Warren and Junior, right? Then we went to 4 or 5 staff, all the equipment, like full tilt. Have we looked at before we would get rid of it, because it was a crucial part of this budget, because I've been on this for 15 years, that we had to have it, that created that $14,000-$15,000. You know, do we cut back to just a couple people looking at it and looking at it a different way than we went from one and it worked and it was a ton of work, and we bent over backwards, and I knew it wasn't sustainable to full-time employees and fully burden and all the things that go along with it to somewhere in the middle before we throw it out, because your comment was our revenues are going down, so we're just gonna get rid of 15,000 that we brought in. And to your point, we got rid of 30,000 of gate fees. So them are my concerns living through this 4 or 5 years ago where the fair was going away. So it's a dream for me to understand, but I'm just a committee member and that's my comment.
Mr. Vice Chair,
Yes.
what was the revenues from like 2016 to 2023 when we did have that person there? Like, we paid a part-time like 6,000 a year to
6,000
to mow and to do storage, and now that cost has increased from 2023 or 2024 till now, and now I just want to know what happened in between there, like how that's a different. Do we have those numbers of how we could?
I don't have them handy, but I could bring them next month. I could get them pulled from the AS 400 and really look at those year-end
It
balances.
seems like we were making some money before, and all of a sudden we're just doing anything more.
Back then, you were roughly making gross, what was presented to you guys as $16,000. That was top end of what you're taking at the start, but that was before you deducted the part-time staff's labor to be there, plus the equipment time, which was also in fuel. And now today, we're still producing that gross revenue, but after you deduct the time for the equipment and the staff, which I'm already only putting 2, maybe 3 guys there on a weekend, including my time, which is voluntary, you know, the county's not paying for me to be there on the weekend, because I need one guy in the piece of equipment, another guy spotting, and it's a 1 day, 2 days in, 2 days out. I mean, that you're seeing gross, the gross number's about the same, it's the net that's changing, because you're not taking in here as much equipment.
You could fudge what numbers all you want, but we got 3 guys versus we had 1 person do it.
And they brought their own equipment. There was no county equipment to 2016. Junior made his own deal on his own machine. So there was
We
no,
always rented
there was no
skid steer.
equipment time. And again, that wasn't sustainable long-term. We had the right staff there to make it work.
I helped Junior for free for quite a few years.
Correct.
You know, that's what the committee did, but you know, we're just advisory anymore.
So is the committee willing to be helping with that? So if we say, okay, we're gonna have a Tuesday, Thursday, or a weekend where the county doesn't have to pay, is the committee willing to be there and organize that?
Depends on the county boards willing to, I guess, relinquish advisory versus policy making, you know. So as the fair committee was always a working committee. We did stuff. Then when it changed, county board said, no, we're just gonna have our staff take care of everything. What's the incentive for Sandy to donate her time last year to help Lyrica run that fair? What was my week off of work to do to help put that fair on, to get everything going? We paid people to do that.
I think the incentive is it keeps it going. It's about giving back to the community. You know, it's not about me, it's not about Lyrica. It's
Correct.
about providing something to the community.
Yep.
And I think what we're seeing is it gets harder and harder to sustain it, to keep things going. And I agree with Josh's point. If we're paying for 4 days, we're paying overtime for staff because we don't have the ability to say to them, okay, you're gonna have to be off Thursday, Friday, and we're gonna have you work Saturday, Sunday. We really are getting to the point where we're probably losing, or at least making a small amount of money, where if we can have it be on a Tuesday and a Thursday and staff are already working and they're already there, then that does increase our revenues. But the way it's set up right now, we don't have the ability to make.
I
enough
agree
money
with
to make
that.
it work.
I agree 100%. I mean, that's where I guess I was going of the hybrid. The county's got it. All of us have paid for that equipment. If Josh's staff is available, Ryan's there and he's on the clock anyway. But to pay overtime and things, yeah, it's not gonna make any sense. Agreed 100%. So if you want to bring a camper, you gotta take a half a day and bring it out when you're there. Otherwise, to Josh's point, you build your own shed and do what you want. But if you can bring it when it's staffed, that makes complete sense. But to do weekends, no, it don't make any sense.
And just understand the fact too, and I went over this before, it's like, during the week, that's a great idea. It's gonna save some overtime costs, but the hours of the staff being there needs to be covered because I can't just donate those hours from highway to come over there. And then I'm cutting the staff short at highway to do our activities because now I've got a fairgrounds staff. So we can talk about all these issues, sort it out. Just simply saying.
Are we? I mean, I think you were looking for, we want to do it this year or not. I mean, I would like to look at, just because of your comment, it is a revenue source. It's got to make sense. If we're losing money, it don't make any sense. But I guess I just ask, if we look at a hybrid, we did it one way, we did it another, can we come to the middle to where maybe it does make a 6,000 or 7,000 instead of just giving up on it? Because it was making us, before we got county and things, it did help offset our budget for sure.
Maybe with the revenues that we made, we could offset tax levy dollars that would be used for maybe. Old models don't ever work. It's always got to be the new.
And I'm not saying we need to do, I think, and you guys all alluded to, the staff that you had helping out at the fairgrounds probably donated a lot of time in the past, and probably really did it about the community. Those people are fewer and far between, and I'm not minimizing anybody else who are out there now. I think times are different, and I think we do now have paid staff that are out there because we can't get somebody to come in and work 25 hours a week and get paid for 3. We just don't have that anymore.
And with the full-time staff, I'm there a lot, it looks 100 times better. So it's definitely checked that box. Does a great job. It's kept up. And before we were just working around his schedule with more, you know what I mean? And maybe it's raining and let it go longer, but it does look really nice the way that it's getting taken care of. Any more on storage?
Did they really resolve anything?
I was gonna say.
I'm not sure.
Probably want to vote that, does the committee want us to continue to look into storage, or is the committee saying, nope, we're not gonna do storage anymore? And then if you are still wanting it, I guess we're asking for that leeway to really crunch the numbers and see what we can do to maximize revenues and minimize expenses.
The sad part of it is though that letters and that need to be got out fairly soon about storage, or you're gonna miss the boat anyway.
Right.
So
People are gonna go somewhere.
people are gonna go somewhere else, but I'm just saying, you know, probably should have been discussed next January or something, but anyway.
Can't go back.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, you know, it's gonna be hard to
I would make a motion that we would look at a hybrid approach before we just give up.
I would second that.
If it can make sense to where we can create revenue, to your point earlier, it's losing money, we need to make some money. We should look at it before we just give up on it. If we can go to Tuesday, Wednesday, or whenever staff could be there. That would be my motion. Any other discussion? All, curious second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Coordinator update.
Oh my gosh. So, the fair is in like a month and a half, which is fine. I will go back to the public comment just to explain a few things with that. With the concerns of the vendor application this year. I will admit it was harder this year than the past years. I know that I went straight to you guys last year as soon as I got to that point. It was much earlier. This year I was looking at redoing the contracts. Which I thought I explained to Kelly, I thought you said her name was. Basically, we are trying to put things more in your guys' benefit to increase that foot traffic, because like you guys said, not a lot of people come anymore into that vendor building. And that first year, last year that I started, I didn't know, because I had never seen that. So I wanted to, after witnessing myself, kind of do what I can to increase that for you guys. So this year I've been working on redoing the contract basically to, make it so that you guys aren't having to be there from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and work 13 hours a day. Just because realistically, in the morning, the exhibitors are the only ones who are going to be there. And I don't think it's fair of us to request that you guys are there for 13 hours a day on your days off. And because of that, that did put quite a bit of a delay with me trying to retype that up and trying to re-put that together. But once I did discuss with her, it wasn't that I was denying the payment, it was that I was trying to figure out the vendor spacing. Specifically that I am trying to bring in more vendors this year. We are moving the balloon artist and the face painter into that building too, to increase that foot traffic. But in doing that, I know we have previously years past given you guys 2 vendor spaces, but I told her that I cannot promise that that's going to happen this year, which I'm pretty sure I did express that last year as well, that we would see going forward. Just because if we can increase the amount of vendors we have, that's what we would prefer to do. So that's where we're coming with that. It wasn't that I was denying, it was that I was going to see if we could have you guys pay for the 2 spots versus the 1 spot, just based off of how much room we had. And I know that we're still getting a few. I had 3 other vendors contact me today to see, and brand new vendors. So that's where I'm at with that. Otherwise, the other exciting things for that is that we did have a meeting with Hub City today, and they want to bring in more of an event with their event. I'll let Josh explain.
Want to do a burnout event for the existing blacktop that is the south side of the property. More people, area that is existing. We are again surface blacktop that's currently that'll hold up. We also have to make blacktop space for them to do that. Like blacktop. So we are looking at that. Don't have a problem. We have everything set up for safety. They have a good system in place to do so. I don't have an issue with the use of the grounds that way. It's just whether or not the blacktop is going to work. And fold it in the middle part of the day. So it was at 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. and shut it down and block off the tracks. So it's going to be very cost trouble. But again, part of their existing unit and their whole facility, as long as they're not causing damage, which they have security deposit in case they do. I think it's good. It's show and grow. I mean, they're bringing 6,000 people in for 1 event. The average, so.
Yeah, otherwise, the only other thing that I really have is that the lactating dairy cattle, we've been going back and forth on that, and I've been trying to get answers on that, and I still haven't gotten many answers, because not a lot of people want to make a decision. So I am personally trying to talk with, Jody, Sandy, and the vet to say that we should bring the lactating dairy cattle back, just because we are getting to that last minute point, and a lot of other fairs are bringing them back now. As long as we have those precautions that they have to, bring a portable milker on their own if they plan on bringing it in. Dr. Christine already has her suggestions about when we can bring them in. And then, they have to have weekly testing already exists, so they have to be their responsibility, because it is a very tight testing area, especially being Labor Day weekend. So it's their responsibility. If they really want to, they'll get those tested on the day that they have to.
Also, the milk, their milk is being tested all day.
Yeah.
So that's a big.
Point of order. Can I pose a question?
Yes.
I still didn't hear anything about when we get confirmed, because whether you're doing contracts or not, or anything else, are we sitting waiting?
You get, well, that's the thing. You guys are confirmed. I'm pretty sure I told her that you guys will be coming. It's just a matter of how much you guys owe, whether it's gonna be the 2 spots versus the 1 spot. That part I can't confirm yet until I have all those vendor applications in. Which the deadline for that is going to be the beginning of August, and then I can go through and let you guys know.
Fair enough.
Mr. Chair. Yes. Question for Coordinator Marks. You had a meeting with all the dairy cattle people, the families that are showing, and sat down in a group
So the
and
thing with
talked
that
about the
is,
situation?
we have reached out. I sent an email to all of them. I called them all, and all of them did not respond. I left voicemails and no response except for one person who said, I want dairy cattle. And I said, would you be willing to meet and discuss this? And they said, we don't have time.
See, because we had one last year, and I remember being there, and we had that. There's some fallout from that happened with me, and
Yep,
I
I
kind of
was,
discussed it, and so I just don't
I
understand how that
discussed-
process worked last year to come to a resolution, and now we're struggling, so.
that discussion, and I have been for the last, I'm pretty sure the last 2 months, I've brought this up to the entire fair board here that I have been trying to get it done. And I have been reaching out, but like I said, all the people that I'm trying to go to are not wanting to make that decision. Just like last year, none of us wanted to make that decision because we didn't want to be the one to, say, hey.
But the group made that decision last year, the dairy cattle families,
Yes. and
they
like-
made that decision last year, that they said they weren't gonna show us.
But we were also able to get them to come to a meeting. This year, they are all saying that they aren't coming or they're not responding. So at this point, I don't know how to continue with that when I'm not getting a response.
May I say something? I have talked to like 3 families. They would all like to bring their cows. And because that's where, they said, our milk is being tested, we'll be responsible for getting it in and we'll bring our own portable milkers. I don't see it myself an issue with it if they're willing to do all that because they have to have the test papers when they bring their animals in. They're all coming in on Wednesday now instead of the dairy coming in on Thursday. So, they're the ones I talked to are in favor of it and looking through the fair entry. There are quite a few that have signed up dairy cattle. Now, of course, they sign up, their cows, whether they bring them or not, but they sign up everything that they can.
Yep.
So they are there. I think, and I'm talking with Jody, I think he was pretty much, of course, he wants to do it. And then he's got a couple of others that said they wanted to do it. So personally, I don't see a problem with it as long as we have the rules. And that's what I told Lyrica, as long as we have the rules and we get them out to them, that this is what you have to do in order to bring those cattle, not getting dairy cattle to the fair. And if they don't follow the rules, they don't get to bring them on. The grounds. That sound good or not? I mean, I think we have to make, well, we can't now because we don't have it on the agenda, and the fact that she brought it up on the coordinator's report. But I personally have no problem with it now because the dairy farmers are in, and they weren't last year. They weren't because they did not want to bring their cattle or their chickens for fear of the avian flu. So that's why it happened that way last year. They agreed not to bring them. So this year, things have changed and the DAT cap has gotten on board and they're the ones that are saying they have to be tested has to be tested every week and all of that, so. Anyway.
And it was in our book and it's all legit. We don't really have to do anything anyway because
No.
we signed up like any other animal
And then they
show
have
and
to have the test.
other fairs are allowing it, so.
Right. If they don't have the test, they don't want. Anyway,
I'm gonna play stupid here. If we don't approve this without it being on the agenda, let's say we all decide that we wanna do it. And they're on hold until the end of August.
yeah, that's not gonna.
How are they gonna, that isn't gonna
So
work.
my thought process with this is that we have discussed it at the last few meetings and a lot of us have decided fair enough, we have not actually made a vote on it. But a lot of us have discussed that you guys were comfortable with Sandy and I going to Dr. Christine and Jody and going based off their opinions. Which is what I did.
Because we have not like said no to it, right?
No.
Well, we haven't said no.
So then it, to me, it can just happen like it should, if they've done their homework.
I was to say, I feel like if we were to decide against it, that would be where we would need that vote.
We really don't need a meeting, it's just that Sandy can.
Yep.
Before it propose it.
And then we'll have to get those rules out and get them out right away so that people know. Because even though they sign up, like I said, not everybody brings every animal they sign up, but at least they know the rules, and if they want to bring them, they can. If they don't want them, it doesn't matter.
And I know we've dealt with this for years in different species, that the superintendents, we get that to them, and it's really, that's why they're the superintendent of that species to
Check all that
handle
stuff,
all that.
Then give it, and the vet has to come in and double check everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
They kind of own it.
Teamwork.
Teamwork. It's always teamwork. Anything else? Maintenance and grounds.
Not much to report there. Brian's doing a heck of a good job keeping that facility looking. We did replace some of that fencing along that way that was on the track there. Just because we had a few spare dollars to that was maybe CIP, and we're still facing some plumbing issues that are popping up from scraping. So that's a continuing one thing, plumbing, but.
Sounds good. Does look good. Future agenda items?
That hybrid for storage.
I'd like to put workers for the fair on.
And the next meeting is going to be our meeting right before the fair, so just a reminder of that. So if you guys have anything you want to discuss about the fair, let me know.
If we need to have a meeting, we can call a special meeting to deal with fair issues.
Oh, yeah.
That's always can be called by the chair.
Do we have like, since we're not doing the gates, but the grandstand lined up for workers?
I have put together a volunteer sheet, yeah.
Okay. So that would be. And then the demo, is that on us, Josh, or do we have to do anything for that?
That's all them.
It's all them. And the stage, we have 2 events. They'll take
We
care
have
of it.
one event for the stage, but we already have that one. Everything is funded for entertainment.
So do we need the workers listed on there, like grandstand? Will we need that on the agenda for next time?
I don't
Talk
know.
about or
Well,
discuss?
realistically,
As long as
we've
they
never really put any of the workers, we just let somebody else handle it.
Should be.
I put together a volunteer sheet. I called, she handled it the last few years, we needed the gate.
Oh, yeah,
But we never really discussed like, oh, this person is covering the shift, that just.
she took care of that. But now if you got the grandstand, and I know, Tom and Lorna will help with that.
Just say that's.
We used to have lists and
Volunteers
stuff.
will.
We used to have lists in different organizations that would come in, but again, that all got tossed out, so. We had a process that was done. So,
I was more or less looking. at
we're
it.
learning. This is all new now because of what happened.
Like garbage, things like that.
If there's a concern with any of that, and you guys want to go back to something that's been done in the past, just a reminder, I've only been here for like a year and 2 months, 4 months. I don't know that stuff, so if you guys want to let me know, then we can discuss how to bring that back, but I don't know, so I'm kind of going off of scratch.
Yeah. I know this, they're.
That's like the FFA and that's.
Yeah,
They just did.
They just.
It's just bandstand.
That's the only volunteers we got for garbage, it's just myself, Brian, Ray. And there's a couple, so they can't, once we did get it.
We used to.
We used to have the FFA would come in during the early morning hours and clean up around the
But all
fair.
them got paid. so-
Carnival took care of their garbages and.
I'm just saying the food stand garbage is a pain, and I don't see anybody here emptying the garbage cans other than me or Brian.
Now, there was a few civilians that we had that would come in and help out with that, and
It's hard to.
without
find
naming
people to
names
help
out here,
do that.
it was done, so.
We can definitely have that on there for the fair work schedule, and if we're gonna meet during the fair like we normally do. Just if there's issues that come up daily.
Last year it was really. Who's the big man? What?
We couldn't keep up on.
Yeah, last year, Gary and I and Brian and Randy, we went around with our, as much as we could, pick up business. You're gonna volunteer to clean bathrooms? Huh? You're cleaning bathrooms? Yeah.
I discussed that with her earlier.
The only thing I'd say on the, like what he's saying in there, I don't know if it's possible to have a list ahead of time. Obviously, the coach and Russ, when we go to tournaments, we have a list before a week, 2 weeks prior, where you know who's supposed to be helping or whatever. And if something pops up where Gary can't make it, you have a backup. I don't know if that's something that would make the whole system work easier, where we don't have the 5, 6 people running like crazy, you know? I'm not saying, you know, like Jody's saying, we had others step up last year, yes. But it seemed like it was the same 5, 6 people, and that's why I'm asking if there's a way, like you say, your FFA groups or whoever, you know, if they're willing to come in the morning and do around the grandstands or whatever, then you know ahead of time, okay, we got a group that's gonna take care of this. Or we have people that we know are gonna be in this area. It's just an idea, like I said, with all tournaments we've helped run, we always try to have a list of people ahead of time. Well, that way you're not pulling somebody, as they say, out of sequence. And it might make it easier, smoother for everybody.
But you're really gonna need like 4 different groups, one in the morning, afternoon, midday, because they fill up fast. Especially when you're gonna have open gate, people are gonna be full here all, they don't have to pay, it's gonna be full.
You know, that was a struggle before.
Yeah.
We had
It's gonna be
volunteers willing to work, but we'd have to make them pay to get into the fair.
Yeah, now you don't have to
And
pay.
so the incentive was, hey, if you would work, I always thought, if you worked, you got into the fair for free and you could enjoy it. But you're helping us for a lot of time that you had. There's options. We've done it.
Did we give donations?
We did give donations, yes. We give donations to other organizations for working the gates.
Right.
It's whatever. You wanna run it, you know, go ahead and find out how much it costs, but if you don't want advice from people who've done it, then learn it.
And I think as committee members, a lot of us do it, but we can't give a whole week. So if we knew our schedule, I work during the week, but I could be there Saturday morning at 5 o'clock because I get up early, right? Till 8 or, you know what I mean? Know my shift, and then Carrie don't have to live there. Some do. They're always gonna, but yes.
So my thought on that is that I don't know your guys' schedule, so I can't really put together a schedule unless you tell me when you are free. So if you guys want to tell me when you're free, then I can put together a list of like things that need to be done. And then you guys can tell me like, hey, I'd like to do this. Heck, I'll be honest, I still need bartenders for our alcohol trailer because, as sad to say, but the one that we had last year passed away this year. So I don't have all those bartenders anymore. So like things like that, or like garbage, or like, you know, heck, if any of you guys want to run the grandstands during that time.
My opinion is put out a big list of exactly what you need for each area, and then have it as a document. We can all go in and add our name to those slots. You're not calling everybody and taking up all that time. We have access to that document, and you can put that all in there. See where we end up and how many more spots. And
We have
then
the-
go from there.
Dayton Ridge Runners, as an example, they're an ATV, UTV snowmobile club, and they helped bartend, but there was a few, committee members that had their licensure that was through the township of Richland, that people are able to work under that. It's one option instead of having Mr. Brookins over here serving beer, or Trisha serving, you know, whatever, like, so there's options. People are willing to help for a community event, so
That also goes back to, like I said, I've only been here a year. I don't know all of those people. So that's why in the past I've come to you guys saying, hey, you guys know anybody here? If you guys know things from the past that I don't know, bring that to me so that I can contact those people. Because I didn't know they existed. So I don't know how to go about contacting them unless I know they exist.
So definitely that worker schedule needs to be on next month's agenda. That's where we're at, is future agenda items.
And if you do get one put together, maybe send it out.
It's already
Send,
put together. I just have to.
send it, send it out. We could put on there.
So I
send
can
it
also
back.
send it to like the county board and everything to see if anybody on the.
Yes.
board.
I'd even send it.
Make sure we get edited.
We can't get it out or get it out so we can get it back. So we don't
Maybe
need
some of
four.
this
Yeah.
council folks will do.
Yeah. I thought I was gonna wait for it to go back in October.
And I can obviously.
I'm just saying.
I can do it's that updates.
So the commission.
Yeah,
that's how I got it.
Okay.
Maybe we, whatever.
Some of them might do that. Anything else on that? Otherwise, number 18 is motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor of that, I will say aye. Thank you for coming. Happy night. Yeah, I don't.